Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing kind of a few steps that you need to know before becoming a military spouse. Number one is pursue your goals, because in the military you do a lot of traveling, you do a lot of PCSing, you have kids, you're moving constantly, which is what PCSing means. So it's super easy to get off track and not be concerned about yourself and your goals in life, because you're constantly following your husband's career or your boyfriend's career, because it's so hard to go back to school because you're moving so much. Most of the times you're somewhere for 4 to 5 years or 2 to 3 years. It totally depends on what rake and rate. We are only in the spot we're at for 6 months, and then we move somewhere else. So that's why it's super hard for me to be able to officially go back to school and get my RN, because that's what I'm going to do at our next unit. Just be sure to pursue your goals. It's super easy to get lost and have to be concerned always about him, because the military is so, it's hard to stay on top of it and be concerned about yourself. So don't lose yourself, your spouse's career or your boyfriend's career, your girlfriend's career. Number two is meeting new people, getting out of your bubble, going out and doing things, going and exploring new things, because a lot of the time your spouse will be gone, or he'll be on duty, or they can't come home and they'll be at the station for 3 to 4 days at a time, and you have to find things to do. You can't just sit inside. That was a huge mistake I made when I first became a military spouse. When we got our first unit, it was in Port Angeles, Washington, and I got there and I gained 70 pounds because I was super depressed, because the lifestyle was so new to me. I didn't know what to expect. Everything was just kind of hitting me at once. I didn't have a job because I couldn't find a job, because a lot of places won't hire military spouses because they know you're leaving. That's what made it super hard for me. So then I finally started working out again. I started eating good again. I went out and found a job. I found a great job. I went from front desk to a medical assistant in 2 months that I was there. So it was a huge deal to me. And then having to leave the job was kind of hard, because I was making such good money and I advanced so quickly. So you just got to keep that in mind. You're never stable. I mean, you're stable for a couple years or so, but you just got to know that you're going to be moving. You're going to have to start over. You're going to have to find a new career. If you don't already have one, you're going to have to start house hunting again. You're going to have to start looking for schools for your kids if you have them, or babysitters, or it's just a lot of things that add up into one factor. So just go out, meet new people, get out of your bubble. If you hate your unit, sitting inside and being miserable is not going to help in the end. It's just going to make things worse. Number three, you're going to have to leave close friends you meet, so prepare for it. You get super close to the people, you hang out with them all the time. They're the only people you know because you went out and you met them. That's who you hang out with when your spouse or your significant other is on duty or deployed or on a boat. So, and those people are always there for you whenever your husband or wife is not, or your girlfriend or boyfriend. So when you have to leave them, it's super hard, because you grow such a strong bond with them, and that makes it super tough. And that's another huge thing in the military, is you meet all these great new people and coworkers and friends, and you just have to get up and leave. Tell yourself that you're gonna be leaving, so you can't get too attached. At least that's what I told myself, because I knew I was leaving. I knew I wasn't gonna be there much longer, and I had to leave awesome people, awesome coworkers, awesome friends. So just be prepared to leave close friends that you make. I'm not saying by any means don't make good close friends, because you're gonna have to leave them, but just know in the back of your head you're going to have to leave them. Number four, there's lots of milestones you're going to miss, like with family and friends. Say like your sister or brother's graduation, their games. Example for me is my little sister's playing volleyball. She's going to nationals. She's only 12 years old, and I can't even go to any of her games because I'm all the way in California and all of my family's in Florida. So it just makes it super hard. Like birthdays, you're not going to be there. Christmases with family, it's either going to be just you sometimes, because your husband or wife or significant other is going to be working or on duty and they're not going to be able to come home. Holidays, New Year's, all of the above, you're going to be by yourself, or you're going to be with just your significant other. Most of the time, I've only been with Christians for Christmas. I was alone for every other holiday. And that's when my friends that I made in that area came into play, because whenever he was on duty for the holidays, they would invite me over, and that's who I would go hang out with while he was gone. So I had someone to be with on those holidays because they knew what it was to me, because I've grown up in such a big family that I was always around tons of family members for Christmas and New Year's and Thanksgiving. Just prepare yourself that you're going to miss big holidays, big birthdays, your grandparents' birthdays, like all of the above. It's very hard to make plans with the military. We were supposed to go to Vegas in April with my family, and Christian's plane ticket and everything was bought because he was going with me, because he put in leave and his leave got approved. And I think a month before we were supposed to go, we got orders to California, and they told us we needed to be in California in 2 weeks. So, and he was going to A school, so he can, when they're in A school, they're not allowed to take any leave whatsoever. They can't go anywhere. So they have to stay. So my husband's A school is 6 months long, so he cannot take leave at all for 6 months. So then he couldn't go to Vegas anymore. So that now I was stressing about the plane ticket we bought, all the tickets we bought for the shows, and just everything about Vegas. So luckily we got a refund on his ticket, and then we went from there. But it is very hard to make plans in the military because they can change anything on you in the snap of your fingers. And most of the time, a lot of places will not refund your money because of it. I had to go around and around with Spirit Airlines to refund our money because of his orders. And it took me about 3 weeks to get our money back after fighting every single day with them and basically telling them that it's illegal not to refund our money if we have military orders showing that we cannot make the trip anymore. They finally did, so it was good. But just keep in mind that the vacation you're planning, these family events you're planning, your significant other or spouse may not be able to go because the military can do anything in the snap of the fingers. So just keep that in mind. You want to get a power of attorney if your significant other is deploying or is not going to be at home for like long terms of time, because if their stuff is on like all of the bills, and if their name is first on everything and your name is not on it, you are not allowed to do anything with it, even though you're the spouse. Your name either has to be on it and you have access to all the accounts, or you can have a power of attorney and get access to all of their stuff and be able to access any of their information. Say like a bill was charged just like $700 and just his name was on that company, and it wasn't supposed to be like that, you wouldn't be able to take care of it. Not telling how long they're going to be out on patrol or where they're going is not going to be easy, and you're not going to be able to do it to get a refund. Or if, say, he doesn't have the money in his account or whatever, you're not going to be able to do anything with that. So just make sure you get a power of attorney from the get-go, because if something were to happen and your name was not on the account and you didn't have access, you can't do anything with it. Number 7, you want to know you don't have to know the acronyms of the military, but just kind of get familiar with it, because a lot of time as a military spouse, you're in all these military group pages. Where your unit is, you're in that page. Your husband talks to you, or your wife talks to you with the acronyms, and you're kind of just like, what? Huh? So just get familiar with you don't have to know all of them, obviously, but just get familiar with like the basics of them, because they are used a lot in the military, especially when you go and hang out with all of their friends and stuff like that. They talk military talk, and then you're kind of just lost if you have no idea what they're saying. So it's really good to know like what they're talking about and what the acronyms are of the military. Another huge thing is pets. Pets are a hard thing to have in the military. With so much moving and PCSing, it's really hard to find places as it is. If you have a pet, a lot of people, you realize how many people don't allow pets. So having pets just makes it a lot harder in the military, because you have to find somewhere that allows cats and dogs if you have both, or just dogs. I've found personally myself that a lot of places allow cats and not dogs, so that's kind of why we haven't gotten a dog yet, just because we've moved 3 times in the last year, and it's way too much right now. So just keep that in the back of your mind whenever you're moving so much like we do. Just be aware that a lot of places do not allow pets. Another thing is BAH, which is basic housing allowance, which is what you get if you live off base. They will pay for your housing. Well, they'll pay a certain amount a month for your housing, and that's just for your rent. So you can either live on base and you will not get any BAH, which they do that before they will give you BAH, but you have to get a waiver to live off base. So if you don't know what any of that means, your spouse or significant other will know what that means. So what they do, how they figure out how much they give you a month, whatever zip code that your base is at, or your spouse's base is at, or your significant other, you type in, you can actually look at this calculator online, like on the internet, and just go to BAH calculator, and it will ask for the zip code and your significant other's rank. And then you'll enter that, and it will say with dependents or without dependents. So you are not their dependent unless you guys are married. If you guys are not married, you are not dependents, and the military will not pay for you to move with your spouse or significant other. So you'll go in there and then you'll click with dependents or without dependents, and it will tell you what you'll get monthly for housing. And then they'll give you that every single month. So you find a place, blah, 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 and then you just use it. It's in their paycheck. So it's added into their base pay and BAH. So they're combined together. So you get that amount every month. So it makes it super easy to be able to afford a place, obviously. Whenever you're PCSing or moving, I always keep a binder. I have a binder with everything I need in it. A lot of like units require your significant other to have the receipts from everything with them when they report to their duty station. So what I do is I have a binder. I put where we're going from, where we're going to in the front, and the dates. Whenever we're traveling, I make a envelope for gas. I make an envelope for food. I make an envelope for hotels, and then I make an envelope for like other things that were needed. Every time that we get a receipt, you have to put it in whichever like receipt envelope it falls into. So whenever I get to our unit or duty station, I add up how much I spent in gas and I write it on the envelope. I add up how much we spent in hotels and I write it on the envelope. How much we spent in food, write it on the envelope, and then how much we spent like in other things that were needed. And then I give the envelopes to my husband and he takes them, and then that's how they kind of figure out what your travel claim is going to be like. You get a certain amount of money a day for food, and then you get a certain amount of money for mileage, if that makes sense. It all just depends on what's on your travel orders or what's on your significant other's travel orders. So that's just a thing you'll have to get into whenever you actually get official orders and it's like actually happening. But just a few tips, like when you're moving, is the binder is a huge thing. I also have a checklist of things because you want to make sure you don't let the movers or packers pack like any of your social security cards, like your birth certificate, your pet vaccination forms, your pet forms. Like you don't want to let them pack any of that because those are needed in a lot of places you move to. And if they're packed, you cannot get them out of storage. They're stuck in storage until you get to your next unit or until your stuff gets delivered. So you just want to make sure you have like the important documents you need, and I keep them in that binder that I make, which makes it really helpful. Another thing with being a military spouse, you want to have flexibility. You have to be open-minded to anything that gets thrown your way. It may be super stressful at the time, but in the end it's all gonna work out. But just be super flexible because they literally gave us our orders from Washington to California and they told us to be here in 2 weeks. And I had nothing put together because we weren't expecting that. We were expecting to leave in April. So that's when I had everything figured out. You have to get the movers and everything set up, which your spouse and everything will do that at the base. They set up the movers. So it's just super hard. So just keep an open mind when it comes to the military because it is not easy. And they throw things at you super quick and you have to respond super quick. So just be positive, have flexibility, and make the best out of everything that the military throws at you. Just look at it this way, you're traveling the world for free, in a way. I mean, come on. That's it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed and I hope it was super helpful. That's just a few of my things that I keep to myself and I do as a military spouse. because I went through it the first couple years and I knew how hard it was on me and how depressed I was and how much weight I gained from being so depressed. So now I just look at the bright side and all the things I've learned from being a military spouse. So I just want you guys to get that, to be able to start off and just know that these are the things you have to succeed and be happy as a military spouse. And just look at everything as an adventure. Like, it may not be fun at the time, it may be stressful, but just look at it as an adventure. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to my channel and like this video. Turn on your post notification bell, that way you guys will know next time I post.